Hello, people, and welcome to another episode of the Clygro podcast. So let's just get into it because I'm actually going to be able to discuss stuff, unlike last episode, which I still can't remember. I was going to say really. I remember there was something I was going to say. I just completely forgot about it. Let's get into it. So, the first video I did after the last podcast was Sporkle again, episode number 2. I think I genuinely can't really remember what things I did in it, so let me just sort of go in. Is it the one where I did the countries in order? Oh, I did UK counties, which I'm not particularly great with. Yeah, I did countries north to south, so you go like press was it? I think 20 you could get like a selection of 20 different countries. They've got like choose the most northernmost ones in order. Took me a bit of a while. Let's say like how long it took me. So about 6 minutes to. I feel like that was like almost like the whole episode. Oh no, it wasn't that much. Took me about. Okay, it didn't actually take that long. Took me about 20 minutes. Okay, it's not that bad. So, never mind. And then next one is ChatGPT on macOS 9 because there's a thing called Lexi AI, like an actual native application, which sounds like such a foreign thing these days. But it's macOS 9, you can't really use Electron. And yeah, you've got ChatGPT on macOS 9. It's actually amazing technology, am I right? It feels weird seeing it as well. After that, it's Time Guess episode 9. I saw Richard Nixon, but I didn't realise that's King Charles, who I'm still not sure if he's actually king. Because surely the Queen's immortal. I'm pretty sure that's been quite well established. At the end of the day, monarchy is just a stupid thing. That's a waste of taxpayers' money, but whatever. Yeah, I would just say that. Next thing is Modern Survival episode 9. So, got two episode 9s in a row. Crazy, am I right? I did more draining of the ocean, but this time, for some reason, it's got 36 views and 2 likes. And after that, this is probably my most favourite video, probably in my top 10 most favourite videos of like the entire year. Samsung Galaxy S2 Adventures episode 1. I bought a Samsung Galaxy S2 a couple of days ago. It arrived on Friday, the day it was uploaded. And let's just say it's probably my favourite phone I've ever used. I mean, on the actual video, the first episode, it's not really that exciting. Because I'm just like on Android 4.1, which isn't really that exciting. For some reason, like the Play Store, like initially was like the original version, that came with it, and it basically didn't work. Like if I searched up Smash Hit, which is a game by the way, would just end up with like films or books or whatever it was. And then eventually it gave me a black screen. Then I'll reboot and then I'll go onto the Play Store. Oh no, even after reboot, it's still not updated. So I end up going on Google searching for it. I've got Sliver.io running on 4.1, because that still supports Android 4.1. 2048 still supports Android 4.1. Do not communicate, all the mediocre games, so Pin Out, Smash It, and what's the other one? Did I say does not commute? Did I say does not communicate? I don't know. It does not commute. Those three only require Android 2.3. CSR Racing either requires 4.0 or 4.1, I can't remember. Google Chrome for some reason requires like 4.0 or 4.1. I think it's 4.0, but I'm not sure. Wikipedia supports 4.1 at the very least. Just say 4.1 for the sake of it's true. Which is very weird considering Wikipedia on iOS requires iOS 14. So you're on here you're requiring an operating system from 2012, whilst on the iOS side you're requiring an operating system that released in 2020. It's crazy. Like Android app support is like absolutely absurd compared to iOS, and I think I just sort of got way too used to the iOS way of doing things, which is just why I've been like so blown away by what's going on, because I I I think I've just to be fair, I've had more time having my main phone being an iOS phone than me having an Android phone. 'Cause, I didn't even use an Android phone as my main phone for a year even, which actually kind of blows my mind. It's kind of surprising. But yeah, this Galaxy S2 is just absolutely amazing. And that's only just referring to what I was doing in the first episode, which was just used Android 4.1. Yeah. I'll do some slight behind the scenes because I didn't really. Oh yeah, and you've also got a version of Discord from 2019, which is newer than the version of Discord you have on iOS 9, which is the highest that the iPhone 4S runs, which is from October 2018. Now, the truth is, you're not really gaining like much features in the 29 compared to 2018, because you don't have replies, don't you? So it's not that exciting, unfortunately. So I'm gonna do a bit of a behind the scenes, a thing that I don't believe I actually discussed in the next episode of the S2 Adventures, because it was a bit more discussion. This is why it's for. It's for the podcast, really. I didn't even really think about that when I was doing it, but I didn't end up discussing it. So, it's not that interesting. It's just a little thing. So I was trying to install custom ROM, um, and I ended up messing it up. And there was like a restore from like 2011. It was Android 2.3.5. And it looked like it was like an actual restore. I thought it was like a factory restore, but it looks like it was an actual restore. It's like there was a bunch of contacts. The phone was in German, and yeah, there was a bunch of stuff. I didn't end up really installing anything. I only ended up installing Flappy Bird, which requires Android 2.2. I thought it was 2.3, but doesn't matter. But yeah, I tried installing Asphalt 8 on there, like an older version, of course. Didn't really work, unfortunately. So let's just say that. And same with GT Racing 2 didn't work. Asphalt 8, basically, when you're connected to the internet, it'll tell you there's a new update available. Of course, I can't really update it, so yeah. By the way, I should probably mention that the Android market, not the Google Play Store, didn't work. Presumably, I probably could have updated it to the Play Store and used it, but yeah. Yeah, so it didn't work, so I had to, go into the web browser again, and APK thought it was a bit of a pain. I think I ended up going on to some dodgy websites. I keep on forgetting that I could just use the put the SD card into the computer, download the APKs from archive.org, because that's a much more reliable source, and then doing stuff like that, and then, put it back in. But yeah, so I ended up, I'm pretty sure I did it from the actual phone. Actually, I might have. No, I'm pretty sure I did Flappy Bird after I installed custom ROM from the SD card. Yeah, so that was sort of what I did, and then eventually I ended up getting it to Android Oreo. And I still find it quite funny that when by default the clock, there's like a bug, and basically the clock appears 3 times in the status bar. Just find it funny. Yeah, unfortunately, like well, not really that unfortunate, really. The Google Play Store just wasn't working because it wanted me to update the Google Play services, which I couldn't really do. And the better option was just the Aurora store. Okay. So I ended up looking at how many apps could I install on here, and the answer was pretty much everything. This phone, I just want to remind you, this phone was released in May 2011. It's running an operating system from 2017, maybe 8.1 was 2018. Let me just have a look. Android Oreo. Let me just quickly check. Oh no, it was 8.1 was still in 2017, November. So that's quite. It's not modern, but it's pretty much what you need for apps to run. There's pretty much not really any apps that require like Android 9 or later. Probably the main reason why Android app support is just absolutely much better is probably because you have people say all the Android devices don't even get like 2 years of update, maybe not even any updates. And the truth is, yes, that's pretty much true, unfortunately. But it means app support is just so much better because they know no one's really in the mood to spend God knows how much money on a new phone. Because unlike iOS users, they don't buy the latest iPhone every 1 or 2 years, which still has, like 5 years of just software updates support. and it's still going to last a couple more years as like iOS target versions, But you've got to remember, iOS seems alright, and I do agree. I was initially thinking, really? Is that going to mean iOS devices are going to last longer than Android? But if you're lucky, like if you buy a certain phone that's well known for, maybe more like popular and just popular and Android. Really, to be fair, that's pretty much all the requirements. You'll be able to install all sorts of custom ROMs that are way newer than the original operating system that it can run. The original operating system that it can be updated to if you're lucky, or it just came on, So, the S2 only supports up to the S2 only goes up to 4.1. It shipped with like 2.3.5 or whatever. So that sounds like it's getting 2 years of software updates. No. No. Incorrect. Because actually the truth is, it didn't get 2 years worth of software updates. You might have been saying, but the truth is, I was saying it got Android 4.1, which is from 2012, not 2013, as it theoretically should be. Also, I've just realised how old the Play Store that I've got on 4.1. Like, it looked quite recent, and I thought it was the latest version. But when I worked out that when I had the custom ROM, I had like Play Store 35, whilst Jelly Bean had 28. I was thinking, it's a bit out of date, and apparently it was dropped in August 2021. So it's a Play Store from 2021. Not bad, I'll tell you that. But so Android Jelly Bean was 4.1, which was 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3 by the looks of it. Which alright theoretically, but you've got to remember, Ice Cream Sandwich, it got another Android name, so it went up in 2 different Android names. But the ultimate thing you've got to remember is Android Honeycomb. For those unaware, Android Honeycomb was Android 3. It was only released to tablets for some weird reason, so don't ask why. What's the Play Store? Okay, apparently Gingerbread's Play Store is from 2016. Interesting. So Gingerbread initially released in 2010. It's 2.3, and the final version was apparently September 2011. So and that's probably not even. I don't know what the R1 actually means. Is it like a release candidate or something? But I'm not going to understand it, but So, app support on the S2, when you 4.1, the latest version it can run. It's alright, okay. Initially, it looked actually quite good, but when I went into like my purchase, it wasn't letting me download most of them. So Also, by the looks of it, unlike iOS, you can't like install like the last compatible version of an app, which is bad. I'll tell you that, because there are plenty of. It would make my life a lot easier than going to potentially dodgy sites to download them. I don't think Web Internet Archive was actually loading on Android 4.1. I didn't actually use Google Chrome because it's spyware. But I guess the Play Store is pretty spyware as well. Yeah, I still used it. So yeah. But at the end of the day, I knew I was going to update it to a more recent version of Android. It was just I just sort of knew I was only going to have it on Android 4.1 for the first episode, which is exactly what I did. So yeah. After quite a bit of fiddling about between the episodes, which was about I think like a 5 hour gap between record like the first bit of the second episode and the last bit of the first episode. I think something like that. I think it's like 3 o'clock when I started recording episode 2, which is really late, but I was really struggling to do stuff. But yeah, I ended up going to Oreo, as I said. That's all. You're not really going to get any apps that require Android Pie or later from now, at the very least. And even if that does happen, the truth is, I can update this to Android 13. Android 13. Android 13. Literally, Android 13. Do you want to know something about Android 13? It's the latest version of Android on a phone that's 12 years old. Now, of course, I am looking at this at I don't know what's the word, biased way, because I'm not, a very technical person. I'll admit that. I'm not like the most technical person. But you've got to remember, flashing a custom ROM isn't the easiest thing. Of course, it depends on what device and what options you've got are also going to depend on what device. Now, as I was saying earlier, if you're on a very popular device, you're going to end up having more options essentially. And since it's the S2, Samsung phones are probably one of the most popular Androids. Maybe not anymore. I feel like they've sort of lost popularity, but like these older ones definitely are still quite popular. It means you're gonna get some a lot of options for custom ROMs, and since that you can pretty much do whatever Android version you want. As I said, Oreo is probably the most ideal. Now, I could go to Android 13, but the truth is, there's really not much reason. I mean, it would be interesting because you've got like the Material U. It'd be a bit cursed, perhaps, but there's just not really any advantages. Is there any features on Android 13 that I'm going to care about? Like new features, like between Android 9 and Android 13? I have no clue, apart from you have Material U, which I don't even think actually looks that good. It's just sort of cursed to look at it on, a really old device. But yeah. And the truth is, I'm just looking at like the default home screens, and the design's just literally not really changed at all. It looks pretty much the exact same since like Android 7.1, apart from like the icons. Okay, maybe Android 8.0, because the three little buttons, virtual buttons, changed design in Oreo. But and then Android. Okay, I'm a bit confused because like Android 8.0's got like that design. I can't really show you. It's sort of got that design, was like the filled-in design. I'm just call it that. And then Android 8.1, the screenshot. I mean, I'm referring to the screenshot on Wikipedia, so maybe there's like some weird difference depending on the device, but like it's just a really weird difference. Whilst on 8.1, it's just the outlines, and then like on the Android 7, it's also the outlines. And then on the Android 9, the things like that. But my dad's phone, I'm pretty sure, has the filled in blocks and not the thing. So I don't understand it, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I mean, Android 9 really looks the same as Android 10, really, if I'm being honest. And then what does Android 11 look like? It looks pretty much the exact same, except for we've got a Google Lens button thing on the search bar. Oh, and there's actually a difference now, like a line, which I bet that's just device dependent, so maybe it's not even changed. And then Android 12 has got the Material U design, so like the icons sort of match the colour of the wallpaper and stuff. And then, the Android 13 one doesn't really match the wallpaper. I'm not necessarily sure why, but presumably it still works. Maybe it's just a thing you can disable in settings. I don't know. I don't understand. I feel like these Wikipedia screenshots are just a bit misleading. You know, I don't understand it. So, sure, I'm not going to go on about how Android looks, because the truth is I have no clue what Android's supposed to look like. I mean, the Android Jelly Bean screenshot looks very different to what I actually had on when the device was on Jelly Bean. So, yeah. And then Android Kit Kat, also looks different, but that's not what I had before. Whilst Android 2.3, my device didn't look like that either, gingerbread. So, let's just say it's confusing. So, that's all you really need to know. I mean, not gonna lie, it's kind of interesting to look at Android Honeycomb. I do actually still quite like the design. I remember I used to quite like the design. I like the idea that the little, virtual buttons on the bottom of the screen, also sort of acts like a status bar. So you've got like the time, you've got all your Wi-Fi, your battery, your Bluetooth, your notification little things that pop up, So, yeah. I mean, there's really not much change, I'd say. I mean, it depends on who you ask, I guess. What device you're on. Okay, let's just stop getting into it. I said I'd stop, and I'm still doing it. But I think the Android The Samsung Galaxy S2 is literally just one of my most favourite videos I've ever recorded. It's just so fun. Like, I can literally run like everything. The only two things that I can think of that I cannot run is Marbles on Stream Mobile for some reason. It requires like Android. I don't know what it was. Like the Android version's perfectly fine. So I'm just assuming it doesn't have 64-bit support. 32-bit. Sorry about that. Yeah. One weird thing that I don't like about this Android, and I'm a bit confused about new Androids. So I don't know. Is there's sort of at first I was like, oh, choose system colors, and then there's like dark mode, and it says default or black. So I chose black. Now, okay, now looking at it, I can sort of understand what I did wrong. And then there's also an accent color, which I was like, oh yeah. So I ended up changing it to purple eventually. Did I not do it on camera? I don't think I did it actually on camera. I also changed the UI size to like the smallest possible because I like having as much screen estate or whatever as possible, as much space as possible to have on the screen. And I was so confused about the dark mode. But then eventually, I can't remember if I actually did it in the video or what, but I eventually worked out how to do it, and it looks so much better, so nice. Yeah, let's say it did the job really well, like really well. I mean, it's quite slow, I'll admit that, but it's not necessarily that laggy, which makes it still like a lot nicer to use than like the 4S, where like the animations are sometimes just a bit laggy. So yeah, you've got to sort of remember what you're comparing it to, which I'm comparing it to the 4S because it's quite popular. You know, it's probably more popular than the S2, but yeah, really, there are so much things I like. It's probably my favourite Android phone I've ever used, probably just because of the fact that it's old. It's got a custom ROM and it can run, literally everything. Yeah. Well, I say literally everything. That's very misleading. I mean, pretty much everything. I didn't actually mean to do that, and it decided, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do it intentionally. There. Yeah, but it can run pretty much everything. You can throw a, like, it'll run. Although it's quite annoying that Firefox literally crashes the whole phone, which is quite annoying. And when I compare it to what iOS devices, I can't run the latest version of Wikipedia, or I can't even run a working version, like fully working version of Wikipedia, because like the homepage bit, like the featured articles and whatever, works, but when you actually go onto an article, it just won't load, which pretty much defeats the whole point of the app. That's the point of Wikipedia. It's supposed to read articles. about things. And if you cannot read articles about whatever, you've defeated the point. So yeah, what's the point? But yeah, so that's just one thing you sort of got to think about. So Wikipedia doesn't work. YouTube, if you change the info.p list, you'll be able to go onto channels, select a playlist, play the videos, but you won't have any descriptions or anything useful, really, and it's just awful. Oh yeah, and you can't even log in. Now, Android 4.1's pretty much like the same version of YouTube, which is like YouTube 13 as iOS 9, which is obviously YouTube 13. I don't think it's the exact same version. So theoretically, you'll end up having the same problem of the thing won't load in. But I think you should be able to log in, which is ridiculous as well. I say it's a theoretical, okay? So don't take what I say as the truth, because I didn't really test it, and at the end of the day, I wouldn't. It probably just would have been a waste of time. I think you would have had to root it as well. I didn't really want to root it. But yeah. Yeah, and what other apps? I mean, you've got a Twitter version from 2018 on iOS 9, Discord from 2018 on iOS 9. What else would you have been limited to? I mean, to be fair, you would have only been on a Minecraft version from 2020. What else? What else? What else? Probably more stuff, but I couldn't tell you. My mind's sort of gone blank. Oh yeah, you'd have one Fediverse app, which is too tall, and then you probably would have had to use Brutal DOM for everything else. So yeah, what's done here? I've got Fedi Lab, I've got was it Lima? I've got what is the other one that I tried to use, but I didn't end up using because of stuff. Oh yeah, basically I'll actually describe this now. I'll probably eventually talk about some of the stuff that has happened since episode 2, in episode 3. But basically I was having problems logging into Coma and PixelFed. I ended up sorting that out. Basically, what I ended up doing was installing Bromite, which is ungoogled Chromium, and it works. So now I've been able to use FediLab, and I'll probably uninstall the other app, Husky. I think it's just called Husky, which will be like much better. Now I'm not sure. I think I might have said this in the video. I can't actually remember, but I ended up finding my 64 gig SD card. Or was that me? Yeah, I ended up finding my 64 gig SD cards. I did say in the video. And yeah, I've put it in the phone. I formatted it as an Android. But the problem is, since I've formatted it as an Android, to be fair, it did warn me that I'd only be able to use it in this phone. I'm not able to easily transfer stuff onto there. Now, when I try and plug it into the computer and select USB transfer in the settings, it doesn't show up. Now, I'm not necessarily sure why that happens, as I'm pretty sure I've literally had it work on this version before on here before. Maybe it's just the actual computer just needs like a reboot. Like it'll show up in like the file explorer, but like none of the files will actually appear. So I don't know. Also at the back it's just a massive fidget toy. I just like I keep on taking on the back and then like putting it back on and so on and so on. Now there are other things that I am not a fan of. For example, I'm not actually able to transfer everything over to the SD card, like all the apps. It's just sort of like why they can and why they cannot, which is just incredibly annoying. So I can't move over GeForce Now. I can't move over the Aurora store. I can't move over Roblox. I can't move over Revanced. Can't move over Discord. Nope. Doodle Jump. I'm pretty sure I've moved over literally everything that I can. Can move Twitter? No. Can move Google Play Store? No. Can move Fedi Lab? No. No. Can move Google Play Services? No. Can move Slide Over? No. Can move over Lima? No. Can move over Husky? No. Yeah, it's called Husky. Can move over Browser? No. Can move over Advanced Micro G? No. Can I move over Launcher? No. Can I move over Little Alchemy? No. And by this point, I've been doing it in order of like largest space first, and now at this point it's like 8 megabytes. So like, what's even the point of being able to move it over? Can I move, was it Trebuchet? No, and same with 2048. And then after that, it gets even more smaller, like Flappy Birds, 2.92 megs, and cameras like 3.70, so it just won't be worth it. And yeah, I don't remember saying Subway Surfers or Cubic Castles, but whatever. I can't move them either. I also did actually end up getting into a game of Roblox. I ended up joining Tower of House. It's probably the most popular lightweight game. Actually, maybe longest answer wins is actually lighter. But yeah, I did end up getting into it. It didn't run particularly well. Probably ran it only slightly worse than the 4S. It's not even better than a 4S. But it's a slightly newer version of Roblox on an operating system that's pretty much. It's technically not over 2 years newer, but technically it's older, but the last update for the 4S was a security update. Actual feature updates, ended in, like August 2016 or something, and this is from November 2017, so whatever. But, actual iOS 9.0 released in 2015, so feel free to say how long it's been, how much newer the operating system, that's for you to work out, but, it's running a version of Roblox that's only like, 2 months newer. So, whatever. Also, I don't think actually, I might have shown it in the video, I can't remember. But, I don't think I did. Did I? No, I didn't show this, but I did end up getting the blockheads working. I don't think it was actually crashing the device. So I don't know what was going on with it, but yeah, it works. It requires Android 2. No, it doesn't require Android 2.3. It requires Android, I think, 3.1. really weird version of Android to require, but it ends up meaning, it still works. Even on when I was on 4.1, which I don't think I actually ended up installing it on 4.1. But yeah, it works eventually. Still actually on the loading screen, it's been there for like, I don't know, 30 seconds. But it will eventually work. I'm also going to try and put it on charge because it's quite low on battery, like 20% or whatever. Yeah, the battery life isn't particularly great. I literally had it on charge overnight, which isn't particularly a great idea, but whatever. No, it's on charge. Yeah, it's on 20%. I've like turned down the brightness slightly. I'll disable mobile data. Yeah, maybe that's draining battery. Whatever. I'll just leave it for now. But yeah. Also, I was initially having cellular problems when I was on Android 2.3 because I don't think I actually put the same when it was on Android 4.1. And basically it wasn't working. On Android 8.1, it was like you need to reboot for the thing to work, and yeah, it ended up working. Not gonna lie, really, the only problem I have with this phone, actually, it's two problems I have with it. First off, you need to take out the battery to basically take out the SD card, which is really not convenient. The second problem I have with it is it doesn't have 4G. Unfortunately, it is limited to 3G, and in the UK, 3G is shutting down next year for free, which is what I use. I use Smarty, which is owned by Free for some reason. I thought it was like independent and just use Free's towers, but it's actually owned by Free. They're shutting down their 3G next year. I think O2 actually haven't announced a shutdown for 3G, but truth is, all four of the mobile networks have confirmed that they'll be shutting down 2G and 3G by 2020. Not 2020, by 2033. So I'm not a fan of that. I think it's stupid. Apparently, a lot of stuff still actually ends up using 2G, like smart meters. So yeah, that's quite problematic. And I think like some like train stuff apparently still uses 2G. And you're making a bunch of devices unusable. Like don't forget, not all 2G phones are smartphones. A lot of them are dumb phones because 2G isn't that new. It's like first released in 1991, long before the idea. Well, I say long before, like over 10 years before the smartphone. Before you could have like a mail app, on your phone, or a web browser on your phone, so on and so on. And you've just got to remember that. And the amount of e-waste it's gonna make is gonna be absolutely ridiculous. And people are like, oh, you could just recycle it. But the truth is, not everything in a phone's recyclable, and not necessarily recycling good. I think people don't seem to understand this, but recycling isn't always the best option. I'm not saying throw it away. That's a worse option. But the truth is, the best thing to do, the better option than recycling, is to keep on using it. Just keep on using it. I don't think people seem to understand that, but that's just how it goes. I've already done like discussion stuff for it before, but I have made like a video about this sort of stuff before. I don't think I necessarily said that, but whatever. But yeah, I think I've said pretty much everything that needs to be said for now. I guess that's going to be it for today. So let's do the promotions. So you've got my YouTube channel. If you're interested, go subscribe. I'm on 58 subscribers. Also, another thing actually, my last 3 videos have been doing really well, but like the rest of the videos from like this month have just been doing absolutely terrible, really. Let's have a look. So I think actually, okay, there's actually one good video, but I think we've got the podcast episode 5, which would have been actually released on the 1st, by the looks of it. They've got more 4.3 apps, which actually got 32 views. That's actually a bit of an exception. They've got how to get 4.2 and 4.3 apps working 4.1. They've got classic mobile games ranked, which actually got 16 views, not horrible. Then you've got a couple that are doing alright here. I don't know why, I've just felt like my video's been doing terrible this month. After that, it's iOS 11. It's in trouble. That's got 24 views. Then Borderless Sporkle S81 basically. Has 22 views. Country Streets, GeoGuess episode 7, has 14 views. Yeah, the last podcast just did absolutely terrible. 2 views, although I don't think the podcasts really have done that well. I mean, should I just like completely axe the podcast? I think the answer is probably not a bad idea. Then you've got Sporker episode 2, which only got 3 views. ChatGPT on macOS 9 got 16 views. That's not bad. Time Guess episode 9 got 4 views though. So really not that good. And then like the last video, I'd say, been doing quite well. Like Modern Survivor, I don't think is really that popular. But the last one literally got 36 views. And then S2 Adventures episode 1 got 23. Not bad. I'll take that. And then the episode 2 got 15 views. So yeah, alright. I'll call it alright. But yeah, like, to be fair, last month was so good. I was doing so well last month that I'm sort of just gone sort of, I don't know, entitled maybe would be the correct word. Like when I get videos that don't do very well, I'm just like, oh. But when I look at it, there's quite a few videos that actually don't even have 10 views. So maybe it isn't that bad. Yeah, I think this must be like, I think this was the first video. No. The first video of April was the April Fool's video, wasn't it? When was it? Wednesday. Should be. Where is it? Original series. Oh, it is. Yeah, so the next, yeah. So first, the April Fool's only got 4 views. Podcast episode 2 got 8. Then mine 2023 got 42, which is quite good. And then the original series literally got 151. Then 13, 29, 16, 64, 6, 9, 49. By the way, I really consider you like a video doing well when it's got, I'd say, about 15 or more views. Maybe more like 20, I don't know. Sort of 15 to 30, let's just say, is sort of where I'm sort of consider good. 5, 24, 5, 21, 2, 3, 19, 6, 27, 7, 15, 4, 20, 15, 25, 5, 70, 27, and then 7. So it's not particularly well. The reason why like my views were doing pretty good was because of my short that happened on that I released that month in April. The Blockhead server thing, 930 views, and that was literally in the span of like within an hour, and then like all of a sudden the shorts just barely get views, which I'm not necessarily a fan of. If it's getting that popular that quickly, it should like surely just stay there for at least a day. They don't have, I don't know, probably like a video of what, like 30,000 views, That's like a number that I could just dream of. Like, I mean, not even my YouTube channel has actually got that many views in total yet. So, you've got YouTube. Let's actually end this. Then you've got my coma. So, it's basically for maybe people who aren't aware, it's basically uh, Twitter, and you're perfectly able to follow your me on there with using Mastodon account, and you'll see all my posts. Don't worry, you'll be able to interact with my posts. I'll be able to see you, so don't worry if you're a Mastodon user. Um, I'm just saying that because people really don't know what the Thingiverse. They just think Mastodon, Mastodon, Mastodon. But there's more to it. And don't worry, if you've got a Mastodon account, you can follow any account on Thingiverse, including my Akoma. And you can also follow my Pixel Fed using a Mastodon account or any other Thingiverse account as well. But yeah, people are like, Mastodon, Mastodon, Mastodon. So that's why I'm trying to say it. But I just want to make it very clear Mastodon is not the only thing on the Thingiverse. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I haven't actually said my Akoma thing. Clygro at seaphone.space. That's my Akoma. And you've got my Pixel Fed, which is Clygro at pixelfed.social. I will eventually actually do more stuff on it. I've literally just got like one post and that's it. And finally, you've got my PeerTube, which is YouTube, but first, you can follow me with my Mastodon account. It's Clygro at diode.zone. So, you can drop me a follow. You can watch views on there. Well, on there it's called subscribers, just because YouTube calls it subscribers. But yeah, you can drop me a follow, subscribe, or whatever if you're interested. All my videos uploaded onto YouTube automatically get uploaded to there, so you don't even need to worry about lack of content. I'm on there. The Linux experiments on there. I don't necessarily watch him that often. And yeah, there's a couple other stuff. So yeah, if you're interested, feel free to drop a follow. But yeah, just gone over the hour mark. That's going to be it for today. Goodbye, people. Bye.